Welcome to another exciting episode of ZoeTV.
ZoeTV. Yes.
Has a good ring to it all the time.
Yes.
We're jumping right in our new resident spotlight because we've got a wham back show. We've got our new resident, we got resident inspiration, and we're picking new names out of the hat for the magic box.
Residents all day.
And we got 26 minutes and we're on the clock. So we are starting with Joanne Crawford. Joanne is our new resident spotlight. But you've actually been here for a little while.
I've been here for 9 months, or it will be at the end of this month.
That's unbelievable.
Wow.
So,
It is unbelievable.
Perspective to others that have been here for 30 years, still new.
It is, yeah. Well,
so.
especially locked up because of COVID. So
Yeah.
that part was so unfair.
I was here less than a month, and all of a sudden, lockdown for 3 months.
I know. We've talked to a few other people, and man, that's got to be tough. You move into a brand new environment, and now you don't even get to know the people around you.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough circumstance.
You know what? That is.
Yeah.
Now tell us a little bit of context of what brought you to Glencroft. Where are you from? Let's learn a little bit about you.
You want to start with where I was born?
Yeah, let's go way back in the timeline.
Okay,
Where are you from? Where are you born?
First I remember is when I was born, and I don't remember it, but anyway.
Yeah, somebody's told you.
Right.
It happened.
So I was born in Santiago, Chile, in the clinic Padre Hijo, or whatever that's worth.
Okay.
I don't think anybody's heard of it, but anyway. And my parents were Methodist missionaries among the Araucanian, the Mapuche Indians. Mapuche is what they call themselves. Everybody else calls them Araucanians.
Okay.
And they have the distinction with the Seminole of being the only Indian tribe that has never been conquered by a European nation.
Oh,
wow.
They were very fierce, and that's Auco means fierce in their language, and that and they were very, very fierce, and that's why they're called Araucanians.
Sure.
So I was born there, and I have a twin sister who was born 20 minutes before me. And my version of the story is I kicked her out. She always ribs me about being the younger.
yes.
And, I lived there in Chile till I was 11.
Okay.
Down in a town first, Nueva Imperial, which was the new capital. Nueva Imperial means new imperial. But the Araucanians were so fierce that they had to move it up north, and it became the capital. Santiago became the capital.
Oh, nice.
That's some good backstory.
History, yes.
Like I'm in a history class.
Well, it's a little podunk town still. No, about 500 people, that's all. And that's where I lived till I was about, till I was 4. And then my parents took us up to the States for a furlough for a year, and then we came back down, and we lived outside town on a farm that my father established for experimental work and to show crops to the native Araucanians. And then we moved to a town called Temuco, which was about 30 miles away, and that's where I lived until we left when I was 11. And Temuco is known because it's the birthplace of Pablo Neruda, the poet Pablo Neruda.
Oh my gosh,
so he was
there you
born
go.
there. I never met him, but that's its claim to fame. Still a very pretty little town down in the Lake Country. I came up to the States when I was 11, and lived in Oregon City, which is where my parents are from. Oregon City, Oregon.
Okay.
Oh, I love Oregon.
Again, beautiful country. Not that this isn't, but it's rather stark.
I like that country. Yes. Yes.
Compared to Oregon, particularly the Valley. Then we lived there for a few years, and then in Portland, and then I moved up to Seattle, and that's where I went to high school and graduated from college. Went to the University of Washington.
Oh, I love that school.
I majored in sociology and had a minor in psychology, but I could never learn to run that rat. So I'm not a behaviorist.
Yeah.
No, I actually ended up being the therapist, but I took another route. My interests were in psychological anthropology, like people like Margaret Mead and so forth. And I actually had the opportunity to study with her when I was at Columbia for a master's in anthropology.
Wow.
That was many years later. And the only thing of note in between was after I graduated from college, I spent 2 years in Pakistan as a Peace Corps volunteer, from 1963 to 65, which was probably the adventure of my life.
I bet. I loved this life.
This is a good life.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been an eventful one, that's for sure. And I traveled all over northern India. I took the local bus with another volunteer, or two, I think there were two of us, that took the bus over through the Khyber Pass, and that was there, and stayed at a fort that Churchill had served at many, many years before. About the time I was born, as a matter of fact. I think it was during the second, no, he was prime minister at that time, so it must have been even earlier than that. And went to Kabul, stayed in Kabul, loved Kabul and the Afghanis, and it's just so destroyed now.
I know.
So destroyed. I hope they can recover. Anyway, I won't go into that history, but I had again, and then I went into a valley called Swat, and another little foothill valley there, where the gal that got the Peace Prize, the Nobel Peace Prize, the young girl, the 15-year-old.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's where she's from.
Oh, nice.
She was born long after I'd left, so I have no idea,
Right.
even where she's from. But anyway, that's just a thing of note. I had some friends from college because I was very involved in the International Association. And so then when I came back, I recruited for the Peace Corps for a year and then went to Columbia for 2 years and got my master's in anthropology. After that, I'd met a young man who we kind of liked each other and ended up getting married.
Good. You
He
liked
was
him
from
first.
Spain. Yeah.
Okay.
He was from Spain, so I went and lived in Spain. Both my daughters were born there, and one of them's still there, and I lived there for 20 years.
Oh,
Wow.
So, but we ended up not getting along too well.
that was the not liking part, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
He's a nice guy, and he was good, very good father. I chose well in that sense, and I think that was the important thing, certainly for my daughters. And that's what I would have wanted to have chosen. So what was I going to say? Yeah, I have one daughter still living in Bilbao, and I go there frequently. Having 2 years, I had a trip postponed by the pandemic.
Yeah, sure.
So I hope to get back there and visit them for this Christmas, which will be nice.
Oh.
Then I came back and went to Columbia. There I got my doctorate in actually it's a doctorate of philosophy.
Okay.
And I got it in psychology, but my thesis was very much a psychological anthropology thesis. It was the psychological, what was it titled? The psychological world of the Basque mother.
Wow.
So I lived in the Basque
student
country.
of.
I am so impressed.
Yeah, your background is.
I want
off the
to. I want to
charts.
write down your life and then say that's my life because I like that life.
Man.
I'm sure you had a great life.
So when did you come to Arizona?
Well, I went back and I lived in Berkeley. I taught and I had a practice, and I also worked as a psychologist in the schools.
Okay.
My Spanish was, they liked that.
Yes.
It was very useful. So they had a hard time getting people who could test in Spanish and treat people in Spanish.
Sure.
So I had an opening there. One of my daughters came and stayed in the States, the younger one, and she got married to a fella who was doing his residency at UCSF. And his mother's from San Francisco, but his father was from Guatemala. So there's the cross-cultural bit that worked out quite well in this sense. But he got a job here at Children's Hospital.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So they moved, and I said, I'm not at an age that I want to stay there.
Yeah,
I'm sad in a
out.
certain sense because most of my friends for the last 30 years are there. But I followed them back this way, and we decided that the best solution for me, though I'd lived for about 3 years in a in-law unit with them.
Oh, okay.
But this house that they bought, we had thought could work, but it doesn't seem to work that well. So I said, listen, I'll go to one of the senior residences. You know, I have an apartment. I have people I can
Exactly.
interact with
we
and
get
things
you
to
now.
do.
Yes.
Yeah. First, I went to the Palazzo,
Okay.
and I liked a lot of the residents. I made several friends there, and I was sorry to leave them, but I didn't like the philosophy of the senior staff. And I didn't think there was enough respect. So I started looking, and I found Glencroft.
Oh, we're
And here I
glad
am.
you did.
Well, you hit the ground running the minute you got on campus and COVID kind of lifted and you were able to get out and about. And
Yeah,
that's where
no, I like to see
you
people, and I
began
like
your
to-
work down in the Performance Center, and that's where we get to really kind of help and guide you and get some of the strength back that you lost through COVID.
Yeah.
And then we've had the luxury of working with you on the Magic Box, and Gerald has been hands-on with you on neuropathy. Correct?
Neuropathy, yeah,
So
in
give
my
us a
feet.
little feedback on that, because that was something we kind of talked about, and we had to okay with your doctor and make sure you were good and you were a good candidate, and you're winding down that first 8 sessions. How you feeling?
Well, it's great. From my scientific perspective, I'd always kind of look at things a little bit skeptical of things, and I was as skeptical as it.
Yeah.
But it works. It really does. And I think I've recovered about maybe 40 to 50% of my movement and my feeling.
Oh, that is
That's
amazing.
So it does work. I recommend it for everybody.
Well, and I'll tell you-
to everybody, anybody that needs it, of course.
I will tell you another thing you've really got going for you is your attitude and smile. I always see you on campus with
That's right.
the biggest smile and the friendly approach. You're easy to want to talk to. So good for you.
That's what they've always told me. That's why I went and was a therapist for years. People
Yes.
like to talk to me.
Well, and
but anyway,
your
I
background.
enjoy them.
You know what
I
we're
enjoy
gonna
them,
do?
but I'm not that outgoing a person, really. What I like is the activities and the things I do.
Yes.
Yeah.
And can I put in a plug for the couple of things that
Absolutely.
I'm really...
Do it.
Okay, I want to get a pottery group going because
Okay.
I'm a potter and I really love it. And
Okay.
it's the best therapy I've ever had in my whole life. Even better than my psychoanalysis, which was very good, actually. Really helpful. And there are 2 new artists, and you've interviewed Adele, but there's another one who does beautiful watercolors. He's very good. Dean, and I don't remember last names. I figure I'm doing pretty well remembering first names.
Yeah, for sure.
But he and his wife Marty have moved in here about 3 months ago, and I hope to get an art group going.
Oh, we'll have to
So-
interview them.
That's
Yes,
right. But I
definitely.
think groups like that is resident-led and a passion of yours, I think that's where that ZoeLife vocational pillar comes back. That you're
Yes.
able to give back to the community and create.
yes, and
that's what your purpose and direction is in this chapter, right? Of doing things like that,
Yeah.
taking care of yourself. So I think I'm all about
I am
trying to
too. And
create
that's
that.
how you start. You have an idea and you just push it forward. I love it.
All right, so here's what we're going to do on our last minute together. Because you're winding down your beta program with the Magic Box, and you're going to go into maintenance, so you're not getting kicked to the curb quite yet. But we got some new names.
Oh, that's
and
great.
everybody is antsy. So I'm going to pick one. You're going to pick one. You get the last 2. Okay? So that way we can get this done before we get closed out of here. I get the first one. Bill Van Meter.
Oh, yay.
Bill Van
Yay,
Meter has
Bill.
been so excited to do this, and he keeps
He
asking
has.
every single day, am I on the list? Am I on the list?
Yeah.
So Bill Van Meter, your name just got called. Expect a phone call for your schedule.
All right.
Who you got?
Oh my gosh, Kay Baker.
What a coincidence.
That
Now-
is amazing. Okay. But in case I can't make it, Adriana Klein.
Adriana Klein. Number 2. All right. Very cool. Okay. There's 2 more we got to pull from here.
I gotta pull 1, and I gotta pull
Okay.
2.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. See, look
go
at
for
her
it.
efficiency.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Very good.
Barbara Hoffman
Barbara
Oh,
Hoffman.
yay.
and Richard Brandis.
Let me see.
Rich.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
Yep, Richard Brandis. That's good. The Hoff and
right.
Richard Brandis. This is going to be special. We've got 4 people that are jumping in the fold next week. So
Yes.
expect a call. Well, you're amazing. I mean,
You
your
are.
background in history is. I mean, I feel like we have done nothing in our lives compared to
Well,
this.
we have done nothing.
Well, I've moved around. Put it that way.
I like it. I like where
Well,
you've
there's
been.
pros and cons to everything.
Yes,
Yeah.
there is. There is.
There is.
Well, we're happy you're here at Glencroft. You're
Yeah.
making an impact on this campus already.
Well,
and I think with the ideas that you have and can work strategically with leadership to make those happen, I think 2021, 22, I'm so excited.
Yeah, those are pros right there.
Those are
Yeah,
pros.
no,
Working
I
with
hope
us.
we can get. I think there's people that like
No,
art.
I
and
think
maybe
yes,
some
there
people will
are.
even like to
Well, we've
do.
seen it with our art class that we've just done with Parkinson's and stroke, the waiting list to get in on just that
Yeah.
kind of an art class.
Well,
People
and the
love it.
craft fair that we do, I have some of the best artwork at my house that was done by people that live here.
Pretty awesome.
So.
All right. Joanne, you're amazing. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for
you.
having me.
Appreciate it. We are so lucky to once again bring back to the show our resident of inspiration.
Yes.
And it's been a little while. We had a
Yes.
little bit of a delay in it, but we wanted to launch our new resident spotlight. And so that's kind of taken over a little bit of the show's time because we were just talking about that. That could be an hour.
Yes.
Just talking with these new residents
and learning their story. Yes.
But we had to bring this back because the resident of inspiration for us is inspiring.
It is. And most of the time, we don't have any say in who they pick,
We got no say, except for this time.
except for this time.
This time it was on staff, and we kind of sat down collectively and said, Nancy Proctor
Yes.
is our resident of inspiration.
Yes.
So Nancy,
Well, I've been here for just 4 years. My 4-year anniversary was the 19th.
Oh, well, you've made a big impact in your 4 years.
Yes,
So-
I've been here for 4 years now.
Well, we're happy you're here.
Well, I'm glad to be here. I try to do what I can, but
You do.
I'm nothing spectacular.
no, you have made an impact quickly on this campus. I mean, 4 years goes like
Yes,
that. I
it
mean,
does.
time flies on this campus quickly. And when I see you out and about, and I know everything that you're involved in, even behind the scenes, you do a lot for this campus.
Well, I do what I can. I don't feel that I do anything at all.
Oh, you do,
Except
and your
enjoy
name comes
myself.
up. People are.
I mean,
Name comes up all the time.
It
So
does.
tell everybody out there a little bit about where you're from, what brought you to Glencroft, and then we'll go over some of the things that you do to make this campus so.
Well, I was born in Chicago, and I lived there for the first 2 years of my life. And then the Depression hit, and my dad lost his job, and we had to move to Michigan, move in with my mother's parents. They had a house in back of their house that was available, and lived in a little tiny town there called Edwardsburg.
Okay.
It's still there. When we lived there, there were 300 people, a population.
Wow, little.
Now I think it's up to about 600 or 700. It has grown
It's doubled.
considerably.
Yes.
But I spent the years there until I started school, and I was there through the first 2 grades. And then I moved to a little town in Illinois, quite a bit bigger, 2,500. And my dad was working at the VA hospital there then, and went through grade school. And the year I entered high school, the year before I entered high school, he was transferred to someplace in Chicago. So we moved to a suburb of Chicago called Oak Park.
Okay.
And I went to high school, through high school there, and started working. And I had dreams of going to night school and learning to be an architect at that time. But my younger brother, who was 4 years younger than me, got involved in a group called AYH, which was American Youth Hostels. And while I was volunteering with that group, I met a man that had just come home from service. This was just after the war. And he had met his old Boy Scout leader while he was walking along the street one day, and Earl told him, well, come on, I've got a group of girls that are anxious to meet new guys. So he had two in particular of the girls that he wanted to get rid of that were volunteering at this office. And instead, he chose me. The guy chose me. Anyhow, we were married a year later. And so my dreams of being an architect were put way back on the shelf.
Oh my gosh.
And
So what year was that you got married?
47.
47, okay.
And we were married the 1st of March. And my daughter was born the middle of December. December was our lucky month or unlucky month. Everybody in our family is born in December.
Is that right?
Yeah. The 4th, the 5th, the 12th, the 14th, the 18th, the 29th, the 30th.
Oh, you're not kidding. Wow.
But anyhow, we were happily married for 60 years before he died, and that was 14 years ago.
Wow.
And I still miss him, but I have a daughter and a son that are still living. My oldest son came here to live in Glencroft because he could no longer live alone. He was seriously ill with COPD, and he didn't let any of the family know. But he got to the point where he had to come here. And I was living at Wooddale at that time, and it was so far away from him and from my other son who lived close by. He lives about 10 minutes from here, still does. And my younger son moved here to one of the casitas, and I moved into the apartment I'm in now about 3 months after he did, and then the following January he died. So that was a sad thing for me, but I've survived and I've managed to get along pretty well.
Yeah, you do.
I've enjoyed living at Glencroft. There are so many things to do.
Yes.
And I've taken part in a lot of them and tried everything. And as my water bottle says, I'm a volunteer. I still volunteer at the library. But that's about all I can do anymore. But I've met a lot of wonderful people in my time at Glencroft.
Well, what I've enjoyed, because you were a part of us back in Beta 1. You were
Yes.
one of the first ones that signed up to
I
take
know.
part in ZoeLife. And
That was one of the
and it
first
was, I look back at those pictures and see, as we're aging, things, wither away and you have knee problems and what you've experienced the last year, especially with COVID. But I think going back to that Beta 1 and the little, moving the needle a little bit physically, mentally, spiritually, it's been fun. And like I said, she takes part in everything. I mean,
She does,
Magic
and your
Box,
attitude.
attitude is great.
Yeah.
And it's hard. I mean, at certain ages, there are certain things like knees that are hard to, get back.
Absolutely.
But the attitude is always there of, I'm going to try it. I want to try to get better. I want to try to get stronger. And so that's what our staff appreciates most about you.
Yes.
Is because it's contagious. I mean, other residents, especially new residents, get to speak with someone like you and you're like, I'm not willing to give up. I'm trying everything I can.
Yeah. Well, I know I just went through the electric thing, and unfortunately it did not work for me. My body was not cooperating properly, evidently. But I tried.
But you
You
tried
tried
it.
it.
You
Yeah,
tried
that's-
it.
Yeah.
And that's what, everybody has a different experience with whatever modality we try, but something's going to work. And that's where it's like, I'm eating better. I'm doing the Magic Box. And I kudos to you for just trying everything.
Well, that's all I can do is try. If I fail, I fail, but at least I've tried.
That's exactly right. And she keeps smiling.
Yes, she does. One thing I would be remiss not to mention is during COVID, as we were kind of coming out of it a little bit, and we wanted to get everybody working out, and the weather was so nice, we started our workouts along the path, and we did all of our intervals, and we all had little stations, and you were critical in that. We needed a volunteer to get their vocational hours kind of met for ZoeLife, but you were home base, signing everybody in, checking temperatures, making sure we had safe people walking that path.
Yeah. I remember. I miss doing that.
I know. Well, we missed that weather, but it'll be back.
Yeah.
Well, we got just a minute left. Tell us real quick, you're involved in so many games on campus.
Yes.
Well, and her.
Scrabble is my favorite.
Oh, I love Scrabble.
I started a Scrabble group out at the Peoria Community Center 30 years ago, and it varied from 2 to 3 people. At one time, we had 16 people playing
Wow.
at Scrabble at one time. That was maximum. But some of the group I'm the only one of the original group that has ever been out there. But since the COVID, I have not been able to go out there.
But you're active in so many games
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
We'd be on the Magic Box working, and she would be, I got this game today, I got this thing today, I'm leading it. I mean, you're integral. Okay, we're almost out of time. We need a name. Now that this segment is back on the feet, who do we want in that chair next week that has inspired you?
Well, actually, I have 2 people that I'd like to. I have one person that I would very much like to nominate, but I know that she's just recovering from pneumonia,
Okay.
and I don't think that she would be willing to do anything for
Okay,
a while.
okay.
But Mary Jane Cannon is
Mary Jane Cannon. That's a
She has
great
been-
name. Okay,
yeah.
but who can be with us next week?
Pat Freeman.
Pat
Oh,
Freeman.
good.
Pat Freeman is going to be in that chair.
Okay.
And we'll
Because
give-
of you.
Yeah, that's a good nomination.
Yes.
Yeah.
How has she inspired you real quick? We have about 10
Well,
seconds.
she's head of the library, and I volunteer at the library. And even though I can't get up and down and put books away like I used to, I can still do the processing of the books.
Oh, very
So
cool.
I enjoy doing that.
All right.
Ah,
We're going to
you're
have her in the
awesome.
chair. We're going to talk about the
Thank
library. All right. We're out of time. I'm out of breath. You are amazing, Nancy Proctor.
Thank you, Nancy.